Hey guys, what is up? Raphael here, coming at you with my first Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile. And today we're going to be taking a look at my Amazonas deck profile. So this is a deck that I enjoy playing a lot, and a lot of my friends have wanted me to do a profile on it, because it's not a deck they see that often, so let's get into the video. So we're going to start off with 3 copies of Amazon's Princess. So Amazon's Princess is the monster you're going to want to normal summon as quickly and as oftenly as possible in this deck, because when she's normal or special summoned, she allows you to search your deck for any Amazon's spell or trap. As well as that, she counts as Amazon's Queen while she's on the field and in the graveyard, and when she attacks, you can send one other card from your hand or field to the graveyard to special summon any Amazon's monster you want straight from your deck in defense mode. Really, really cool, because we can special summon our Amazon's Queen straight away. Next up, we have 2 copies of Amazon's Tiger. One of the original Amazon's cards, really, really cool card. The only downside of Amazon's Tiger initially is that here you can only control one Amazon's Tiger at a time. Because its effect used to be a lot stronger than it is now. So basically, he gains 400 attack points for every Amazon's monster you control, including himself, so he's already going to be 1500, and your opponent cannot attack another Amazon's monster you control except for him. We do play 2 of him because we do need him to go into one of our fusions. Next up, we do play 2 copies of Amazon's Baby Tiger. So Amazon's Baby Tiger counts as Amazon's Tiger while he's on the field and in the graveyard. So the only downside to this card is we cannot have these 2 monsters on the field together. Really, really a bit of a shame, really. Amazon's Baby Tiger, of course, can also be special summoned from your hand or your graveyard once per turn when you normal or special summon an Amazon's monster. So basically, you get a free Link 2 straight into a Mrs. Radiant or any other Link 2 you really want. Also combos really well with Amazon's Spy. So Amazon's Spy we play 2 of, and she can be special summoned from your hand by revealing any other Amazon's monster. So you can reveal your Baby Tiger, and then you can special summon your Spy straight away, and then using Baby Tiger's effect, you can special summon your Baby Tiger, getting you 2 monsters, and then you still have a free normal summon. Spy's other effect is when she's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can add any Amazon's monster you want from your graveyard either back to your hand or straight back into the deck, so your princess can then summon it through her final effect. Next up, we play 2 copies of Amazon's Swordswoman. Amazon's Swordswoman, one of the original Amazon's monsters, and as such, she's a level 4 monster with pretty low stats compared to today's standards. But that works in her favor, because any damage you would take involving Amazon's Swordswoman is dealt to your opponent instead. So really, really cool effect. And there's a lot of combos you can do with her around this deck. So something you could easily play 3 of if you weren't going to play this next card. So Amazon's Trainee is a little one-off card that I like to play, that any monster she destroys by battle is sent to the bottom of your opponent's deck rather than to the graveyard. Can be really handy in certain situations against certain decks, I think. But also she gains 200 points for every monster she destroys. So really, really cool techie card right there. Next up, for our last 2 Amazon's main deck monsters, we play 2 copies of Amazon's Queen. She is a level 6 monster, meaning we do require 1 tribute, but there are ways in the deck, like our Amazon's Princess, to summon her out for free. Her one and only effect is that all our Amazon's monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. So really, really important to get her out, and we do need her, of course, for our fusion, Amazonas Empress. Finally, for our last 2 monsters, we play 2 King of the Swamp, so we can either search for a Poly or use it for a fusion material substitute, if we can't get a Queen or a Tiger. Moving on to spells, we play 3 copies of the Amazon's Village. It gives all our Amazon's monsters an extra 200 attack points, kind of irrelevant, but what it does do is once per turn, when the Amazon's monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect, we can special summon another one from our deck that's the same level or lower. Really cool combo, and really good way to use this card is to destroy our very own Amazon's Spy. If our Amazon's Spy is destroyed, we can add a Amazon's monster from our graveyard either to a hand or deck, like before, and then we can special something like our Amazon's Princess from our deck, and then get a search. So really, really cool. Next up, we play 3 copies of the best spell card in the deck, the Amazon's Call. It allows us to search for any Amazon's card we want at instant quick play speed. We can only play 1 per turn, but it basically allows us to search our deck for anything, so it's kind of a fair trade-off. And this is the card we're going to be searching with our Amazon's Princess as often as possible, so then we can use this to search something else, and within our deck basically 2 cards. The other effect is we can banish it from our graveyard to have one of our Amazon's monsters attack all our opponent's monsters once each. Unfortunately, none of our other Amazon's monsters can attack the turn we use this effect, but still really, really strong effect, because we can combo this really well with our Queen and our Swordswoman. So basically, our Queen protects our Swordswoman from being destroyed, and banishing our Amazon's Call allows our Swordswoman to attack all our opponent's monsters. There's another card in the deck that works, is the final part of this combo, which we'll get to it when we get to the traps. Really, really cool combo. Next, we play 1 copy of Rota, search for basically almost anything in the deck. 3 copies of Poly. We don't play Fusion Substitute because I found that Fusion Substitute does brick quite a bit, and I find Poly is a lot more reliable than Fusion Substitute. We play 1 copy of Twin Twister, 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. Could play 3 Cosmic Cyclone if you wanted to. 1 copy of Dark Hole. And for our last spell, we play Creature Swap. So Creature Swap is another card that works really well in this deck in terms of the combo with our Amazoness Spy and our Amazoness Village Field spell. What makes Creature Swap so good is that it doesn't affect monsters, it affects the player. So if they've got something that we can't beat over that's unaffected by card effects, so our traps and spells that we're using to get rid of stuff can't get rid of it, they can give it to us. We can force them to give it to us, but if they have no other monsters on the field, we can give them our Spy, we can destroy our Spy, activating Spy's effect and our Village's effect. So we can plus like crazy, and they're not gonna plus that hard at all. So we're moving on to our traps now. So we have 3 copies of Amazon's Onslaught, the best trap in the deck. What it allows us to do, it is a continuous trap, so we can use its effects in our turn and our opponent's turn. It allows us to once per battle phase per turn, we can special summon an Amazon's monster from our hand and give it an extra 500 attack points. And it ignores summoning conditions, of course, so we can special summon our Amazoness Queen straight from our hand. Or we can special summon our Tiger and give our Tiger an additional 500. This, of course, is only till the end of the turn. But our monster does stick around. Its second effect is whenever an Amazon's monster battles, at the end of the damage step, we can banish the opponent's monster. Really, really cool. And it's after damage step, so the monster doesn't actually get destroyed and the banish does not target. So also really, really strong card. Its other effect is if it's destroyed while you control it and it's into the graveyard, you can target an Amazon's monster in your graveyard and special summon it. Including our fusion monsters actually, because they can be summoned from the graveyard. They obviously just have to be fusion summoned first because they're fusion monsters. We play 2 copies of Amazon's Willpower, basically Amazon's Call of the Haunted. The only downside is that the monster we summon must attack each battle phase, but it does have Amazon's in its name and it is searchable. We play 1 copy of Fusion Reserve. Fusion Reserve is a much better card in this particular deck, in my opinion, as opposed to Fusion Recovery, because Fusion Recovery forces us to fuse first and can only get back the monsters we use for a fusion summon. Fusion Reserve allows us to search our deck for any fusion material monster we need that's listed on a fusion monster we reveal from our extra deck, and if we do, we can then add a poly. The good thing is we don't have to add the poly. The downside is if we want the poly, we have to search for the monster. So it's a good way to search out our queens and our tigers. We played 2 copies of Solemn Strike, 1 copy of Solemn Warning, pretty straightforward, and 2 Quaking Mirror Force, because our Amazoness Empress gives all our Amazon's monsters piercing. So pretty straightforward there. Moving on to our extra deck, we play 3 copies of Amazoness Empress, our main boss monster from the deck, and 9 times out of 10, the only extra deck monster you're really going to want to go into. We're going to go into Liger sometimes, but 9 times out of 10, you just want to go for Empress. So Empress requires us to fuse Amazoness Queen and any other Amazon's monster we want. So either our Queen from our hand or field, or our Princess on our field. She gives all our monsters that are Amazoness piercing. So it's good. That's why we play Quaking Mirror Force, so we can put our monsters into face down defense. She also protects all our other Amazon's cards from being destroyed by battle or card effects. A really, really strong effect right there. The only problem is she can't protect herself by battle, and she is vulnerable to being kaiju'd and stuff like that, which is why we play Amazon's Queen to protect her from being destroyed by battle. However, if she is destroyed by battle, and she leaves the field due to an opponent's card effect, you can special summon an Amazon's Queen from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So really, really cool, so we can bring back a princess from our graveyard and get a search. And then, of course, she is summonable from the graveyard through our spell and traps. So really, really cool reason why we play her, because we can just bring her back straight away. Next up, we play 2 copies of Amazoness Pet Liger. So Amazon's Pet Liger requires us to fuse Amazon's Tiger and any other Amazon's monster. It is able to pump itself 500 attack points in the damage step until the end of the turn to beat over an opponent's monster if we need it. It also has the same effect as Tiger in the fact that your opponent cannot target another Amazon's monster you control for an attack. So obviously, if you have your Tiger on the field as well, your opponent cannot attack you. And once an Amazon's monster battles, you can use Tiger's effect to reduce the attack points of an opponent's monster by 800 continuously. So it's a continuous minus, so it's not going to go back up. Moving on to Link monsters, we play 3 copies of Mrs. Radiant. Very, very obvious. It requires 2 Earth monsters, so we have lots of ways to make that in the deck. Gives all our Earth monsters an extra 500 attack points and lowers all wins by 400. And if she's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, we can add an Earth monster from our graveyard back to our hand. We play 1 set of the Utopia package. We play Prime, so we can get 2 uses out of our Lightning, obviously, because sometimes we need the 5k beater. We play 1 copy of Cursed Javelin, because we only have 1 way to go into it, which is our 2 baby tigers. We do have there is another level 2 Amazon's Monster Scouts, but we don't play it, so we can detach one overlay unit from our Cursed Javelin to reduce, make one of our opponent's monsters attack points 0, so we can just beat over it if we need to. One copy of Heartland Draco, if we have a spell card, cannot be targeted for attacks, and we can attach one to have him attack directly. One copy of Invoker, is a level 3. 2 level 3s, two level 3s, so we can detach one to special summon a level 4 Earth Warrior or Beast Warrior from our deck and destroy it during the end phase. If we've got our Empress, we can't lose our monster. Really, really straightforward. And finally, one copy of Castel, the Skyblaster Musketeer. Pretty straightforward. So that's the end of my deck profile, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I want you to check out the rest of my channel if you want to check out new content I'll be adding for both comic book, anime, and TCG related stuff. So please leave a comment if you have constructive feedback or subscribe, and I'll catch you next time for my next profile, video, or comic review.